this nonsense dialogue about why their beloved UConn Husky, you know the UConn Husky bloodline in the WNBA runs deep. You know, Gino has put a lot of these players in the league. It is what it is. They are continuing to pretend like they don't understand why Caitlin Clark is who she is. They keep trying to force this comparison with Paige Bueckers that is not a comparison.
There is growing frustration online with the ongoing debate started by Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe about why Caitlin Clark draws so much more attention than Paige Bueckers, another clearly talented player. Instead of accepting a simple explanation, the two keep introducing new angles to explain the gap between how popular Clark is compared to Bueckers, including how many tickets each player sells and how much court time they get in coverage. The pair continue pushing this comparison, tied to the deep UConn connection running through the WNBA. Gino Auriemma has sent plenty of players into the league, and that lineage shows up constantly in these conversations. Bird and Rapinoe act puzzled about Clark's rise, repeatedly bringing Bueckers into it, as though the two are directly comparable, which many argue they simply are not.
Keep trying to force this comparison with Paige Bueckers that is not a comparison. Let's take a look. They're talking about sexuality, all of this stuff that does not matter. None of us care. Y'all can't say race because Paige and Caitlin are both white, so you couldn't use that. Let's listen to what they have to say about this. This is nonsense.
I think the way Paige plays, not just the efficiency, but just the way she scores, I think historically has been overlooked in women's basketball players. And that is what helped Kate.
At one point, the discussion drifts towards sexuality, a topic that critics say has nothing to do with anything. Race can't be used as an excuse here since both players are white, so the conversation shifts elsewhere. In the clip, one of them explains that Bueckers' scoring style, not just her efficiency, but her overall approach, has often been undervalued in women's basketball. That undervaluing is exactly what allowed Clark to stand apart. Her deep logo threes, her range, and the way she pulls up off the dribble, all combined into something people couldn't dismiss or argue with.
In women's basketball players. And that is what helped Caitlin separate herself. The logo three and the distance and the range and the way she shoots it off the dribble, all of that put together, that is the antidote to dunking. It was like we finally had something where people couldn't question it because the distance is the distance and it either goes in or it doesn't. And that's why anytime, we've seen videos of opposing teams on the men's college basketball side who come into Iowa, what do they try to do? They try to shoot from her little logo where she...
The distance on those shots settled the debate instantly. Either the ball goes in or it doesn't. That's supposedly why visiting men's college teams playing at Iowa would test themselves by shooting from the exact spot where Clark broke records. They confirm that Clark's deep threes clearly boosted her fame, but insist her whole style of play, especially the excitement factor, is what truly built her popularity. Watching Clark drop a 40-point triple-double in the NCAA tournament, or seeing everything she did as a freshman and sophomore pulling up from nearly 40 feet, never once brought dunking to mind for the speaker. A logo three doesn't produce the same reaction as watching an NBA fast break dunk, and that comparison gets rejected outright.
Who come into Iowa, what do they try to do? They try to shoot from her little logo where she broke the record.
Oh my God. Caitlin Clark's 3-point logo threes. Yes. Did it play a part in her popularity? Yes. Her entire style of play. The excitement, the key word, excitement, is why Caitlin Clark is who she is and as popular as she is. When I watch Caitlin Clark put up a 40...
The appeal isn't about matching a dunk's energy. It's the excitement built into every part of how she scores, including pulling up off the dribble. One speaker suggests men only shoot from that spot to prove a point, testing themselves the way managers or staff might, since it became something finally undeniable for anyone watching. There's a claim that women's basketball has long been dismissed with doubts like questioning how tight a crossover really was, how difficult a shot actually was, or writing off mid-range shots as something anyone could do. That framing gets pushed back immediately. It was never about anyone being able to do it, but about Clark having a genuinely thrilling style of play. Later, one speaker admits that many men have unfairly dismissed women's basketball simply because they never paid attention to it, and that this is exactly the space where Bucher's game lives, off the dribble, in the mid-range.
Is when I watched Caitlin Clark put up a 40-point triple-double in the NCAA tournament and all the stuff she was doing her freshman year, sophomore year, her pulling up from logo and all of that, at no point did dunking come across my mind. Did no point did I watch Caitlin Clark pull up from 38 feet and be like, oh, that gives me the same feeling as a dunk in the NBA on a fast break gives me. We don't think that. We don't think that.
The counter-argument is that it was never about not knowing the talent existed. The honest issue was that, to a lot of viewers, it wasn't exciting to watch. There's an admission of genuine respect for past stars, naming a favorite point guard and a favorite player of all time, and acknowledging real appreciation for the skill level in the league. Still, the entertainment factor wasn't always there, and viewership numbers reflect that reality. Bucher's is credited with plenty of impressive, highlight-worthy plays, including her own logo threes now and then. But the claim is that it doesn't carry the same impact Clark's shots had, and that difference matters.
We don't think that. We don't think that. We don't. We are excited and enamored with her style of play. The logo three is a part of it. Yes, a huge part of it. Not even just the fact that it's a logo three. She's pulling up off the dribble. It's exciting. It's not about her logo three equaling dunking for us men. That couldn't be further from the truth. You guys, y'all just keep reaching and saying anything.
Clark is described as simply more exciting to watch, while Bucher's, despite her skill, doesn't generate the same buzz. Then the conversation turns toward whether there's a cultural element involved, noting that Bucher's is openly gay and has been vocal in supporting racial justice causes. This shift draws sharp criticism. The comparison to earlier remarks about Angel Reese comes up, where race was blamed, framing Clark's popularity as rooted in her being white.
From the truth. You guys, y'all just keep reaching and saying anything.
They're like, let me test this out. I'm sure managers are doing it. I'm sure faculty's doing it. Every man in the world who has stepped in that building wants to try that. Because it, in this way, was finally this equalizer that you couldn't argue. It was what it was. And I think women's basketball in general, again, historically, it's like, oh, but how tight is her crossover really? How hard was that shot really? Oh, a mid-range is a mid-range. Like anyone can do that. And it's always been...
Now the argument apparently shifts to her being openly gay as the reason, which frustrates critics who insist nobody's sexuality factored into audience interest. Whether someone is gay or straight was never the deciding factor in whether people found the games entertaining. Critics also push back on the idea that supporting black women somehow separates the two players, pointing out that Clark has publicly spoken up for black women too, and worked behind the scenes advocating for better pay for many players, most of them black women. One speaker wonders aloud whether there's something about identity tied to who society elevates as the biggest star or most powerful figure in sports, suggesting there may be more to unpack there.
Oh, a mid-range is a mid-range. Like anyone can do that. And it's always been a way.
It's not about anyone can do that. She has an exciting style of play, Sue. Come on.
I think that a lot of guys, sadly, they've been able to put our game down and not respect it because they didn't really know. They clearly didn't know. And that's where Paige's game lives. It lives off the dribble. It lives in the mid-range.
It's not that we didn't know y'all could play. It's just the shit was boring to people. Like why can't that?
That idea gets firmly rejected, with the response framing it as projection based on personal experience rather than fact, insisting that nobody's dating preferences factor into ticket sales or excitement levels. The pushback continues, claiming Clark's popularity comes from being straight, while Bucher's speaking up for black women and being openly gay explains her lower profile is called deeply flawed, especially pointing out that one team had among the lowest attendance figures in the league despite Bucher's talent and advocacy. The overall reaction calls this line of reasoning disappointing and frustrating, urging people to share their own opinions on the debate. Caitlin Clark's supporters need to open their eyes to what's really happening.
About Caitlin Clark's fans portraying them all to be negative and all of this stuff, and basically just disrespecting the fans, but trying to use, while the players are trying to use those same fans that Caitlin Clark brought into this league as a negotiating tool and a tactic to gain more money and whatever they want, a new CBA. But they all claim that these Caitlin Clark fans are the worst people in the world and all of this stuff. I think it is absolute garbage. Let's get to what Sue Bird pulled on her podcast today.
Sue Bird keeps favoring her over Clark, and it keeps happening again and again, to the point where an entire USA basketball segment was built around Paige Bueckers instead. Bueckers is being framed as the head of the young group that Clark is also part of. Clark isn't even shown in the graphics for the show. She's being left out completely.
Today, well, let's get to it. First of all, let's look right here. Let's start right here. Let's look at the title. Let's look at the title alone. Team USA 2028 forecast. Paige Bueckers and the young stars on the rise. Oh, so this is the Paige Bueckers show. Oh, so y'all, when we went over that article, when they were saying that y'all were trying to make this Paige's USA team, look at this here. Team USA forecast.
It's all Bueckers, all the time. This is wild. Fans need to pay close attention to what's unfolding here. This breakdown will walk through it all.
Look at this here. Team USA forecast, Paige Bueckers and the young stars on the rise. So they're already making this about Paige Bueckers. Now pay attention.
First camp for the Y&Ts.
Yeah. Those young bucks, man, they're funny. They're funny. Day one, Paige called them, we're just
Hold on. Now we're going to get to what she said about Paige. She already talking about Paige. She ain't talking about nobody else. Look in the graphic of the young intern, the young players. Paige Bueckers, Jackie Young, Angel Reese. What?
This comes right after covering Sue Bird's podcast a few days back, where guests were allowed to spread false claims and negativity about Clark's fan base. They painted her supporters as toxic, while at the same time using those very fans, the ones Clark brought into the league in the first place, as leverage in CBA negotiations to push for better terms. Yet these same fans get labeled as the worst in the sport. That's a double standard worth calling out.
Paige Bueckers, Jackie Young, Angel Reese. What? Why ain't Caitlin Clark in like this is what I'm talking about. You are going out of your way to keep Caitlin Clark out of everything now. You're going out of your way to keep her out of it. I see what's going on. You're trying to make this the Paige Bueckers League, the Paige Bueckers USA team, the Paige Bueckers show. When the fact of the matter is we love Paige as a player. We enjoy her game. But you can't force her to be a big
Now on to what happened on the latest episode. Start with the title itself. Team USA 2028 forecast, Paige Bueckers and the young stars on the rise. So right away, this is framed as Bueckers' spotlight. Remember the earlier article claiming the team was being shaped around her? This confirms it.
Star that people clamored to see. She had the third lowest attendance for games in the league. You can't force the fans decide who the stars are with their money, and that's that. If I go to a restaurant and it's 50 tables and 45 of the tables have tacos on them, y'all can't tell me the cheeseburger's the best thing on the menu. No, the people have decided the best thing here is tacos, and y'all are purposely trying to.
The segment opens with the first camp for the young national team players. The commentary jokes about the young guns, noting that on day one, Bueckers referred to the group as just being young interns. Before getting into the quote, notice the graphic showing the group. Bueckers, Jackie Young, Angel Reese. Clark is nowhere in that image. This is the pattern, deliberately excluding Clark from the narrative at every turn.
To leave the best thing on the menu out of the limelight. I see what's going on. Now I'm going to start it back.
those young bucks, man, they're funny. They're funny. Day one, Paige called them, we're just, we're young and turnt.
I mean, it's just so cute.
Trademark it.
So
Trademark
cute.
it.
Okay, I do want to ask one thing because there were some obviously big names that weren't there that people would have seen. Asia,
Like I
Stewie,
said,
Fee,
everyone
mostly
got invited,
Sabrina.
and
Okay.
these were the players that
Yeah,
could
some
come.
players can come. Honestly, I feel like sometimes some older players are like, you know what?
It looks intentional, like there's a push to rebrand this as Bueckers League, Bueckers National Team, Bueckers Spotlight. To be clear, Bueckers is respected as a player, and her game is enjoyable to watch. But star power isn't something that can be manufactured. It has to be earned through fan interest. Her game's ranked among the lowest in attendance league-wide this season.
These are the players that
Yeah,
could come.
some players can come. Honestly, I feel like sometimes some older players are like, you know what? I'm in my off season.
You can ask them.
We need them healthy. Okay. So it just doesn't mean anything. Great opportunity to get everybody together. Okay. When's the next camp?
So the way it works is
right,
because we're right before the show, because they won the America, we haven't really sat down yet and decided or made any decisions on not just the roster, but like the makeup of it. That I have some leeway there. We don't have to like go with like a ton of meaning behind it, but at the same time,
Fans are the ones who determine who the real draws are, through their support and spending. Picture a restaurant with 50 tables, and 45 of them ordering tacos. No matter what the menu says, the tacos are clearly the favorite, yet here, it looks like the crowd favorite is being pushed to the side on purpose. Back to the clip, the young intern's comment gets replayed, along with an aside about the gray market. Then a question comes up about notable names missing from camp, bigger names people expected to see.
to like go with like a ton of meaning behind it, but at the same time, I'm trying to do some things. I'm going to have to get some looks at some different people and some different lineups.
Yeah.
So it's definitely how I'm viewing it.
She's definitely building Team USA around Paige Beckers. It is what it is.
But yeah, this is always how it is leading up into a major competition. You get as many trainings in as you can based on players' availability and who you got, you roll with, you figure it out. Welcome to USA Basketball. We get like 5 minutes together before we hit the floor and compete for gold medals.
Yeah.
The response is that everyone got invitations, but some veteran players chose to sit out during their off-season, and health was prioritized over forcing attendance. Still, it was called a great chance to bring the group together. Asked about the next camp, the response explains that with the recent tournament win, decisions haven't been finalized yet. Not just on roster spots, but on the overall structure and direction of the team. There's flexibility to try different lineups and combinations moving forward, which is standard heading into a major competition.